Today I'm just going to walk you through rather quickly the first assignment I've given you. So we're going to start by you just taking a little mental trip of the whole world, of where you would like to go in terms of looking at their culture and the artwork and things that they are making. So what you want to do is just, if you want, call up a world map and just really consider, like, what civilization and area would you like to look at. So for today, for the demonstration, I'm going to be quickly walking you through one problem you might run into in terms of, wait, how do I figure out the ancient peoples of this particular place based on a current map? But then I'm also going to walk you through the process of just starting to find those sculptures that I've laid out in the directions. So you're looking for those three sculptures. You're looking for, from one place in the world, that really ancient sculpture, and then the kind of midway, picking a time period in the middle, and then contemporary sculpture, something that is happening today from somebody living in that area of the world. So from here, I'm going to be working with Japan. I've decided to focus on that. You'll see why in a little bit. You won't be surprised by that choice of mine. But I'm also going to look at, let's say I decide I want to look at Canada. I'm like, well, what the heck? Why not? It's kind of that place I think sometimes we forget we're connected to, right? So if I go in and say, well, Canada is not really an ancient civilization, right? It was founded by settlers. So what's the deal with Canada? But if you type in who were the original peoples of Canada, or you want to be looking, or you really have to say indigenous peoples of Canada. So who were those indigenous peoples? And actually, here's our list right here. The Canada's first peoples are referred to as Indians, Inuit, and I'm not sure, I think that's Métis. So the Inuit, I know, is they produced a lot of interesting, cool artwork, and I would definitely go in that direction if that's the part of the world I'm going to focus on. But that's how you can deal with the problem of, you choose a nation that was settled by basically colonizers, and it's not the original groups of people. Just make sure you type in indigenous or original people in that part of the world or that country. Okay? So I'm going to close out this tab, and then I'm going to jump to Japan. So I just typed in, same thing, oldest civilization, Japan. So then I get this really great list that's super helpful. So hopefully you'll just find something like this. So some of this, through some of your history classes, you may know some of this. But the original peoples of Japan that were the first to really set foot on that land, and we have something left behind by that civilization, is called the Jomon period of people. So I'm going to go with that. So I just went to a new window and I typed in Jomon sculpture. Normally I would send you to a museum website and you could search their database and their collection, but the museums I've been searching on today honestly are bogged down. I think a lot of people are jumping online, doing research online, because you can't go to these places, and there's probably a lot of teachers out there like myself sending students to these sites. So we're just going to keep it more general. And you're going to just type in Google, make sure it's sculpture, because that is, what we're focusing on for this assignment, obviously. And so I'm going to type in Jomon sculpture and see what comes up. So I've got early, I've got Japanese, Dogu, Jomon period, which, well, duh, I've already typed that up there. Ancient, ceramic. So I just wanted to scroll through this and just see what was popping up. And of course, do you recognize this now? This is our goofy little guys that really just kind of caught my attention recently, and I used as inspiration for the clay project. So I really kind of want to learn a bit more about these guys, and that's why I decided to focus in on this. Oh, look at that guy. Isn't he fabulous? So I scrolled down and I found this photograph of these 4 different sculptures, and I thought, okay, well, let's check out one of those guys and see what the deal is. And then you can hit the link. Obviously, you guys know how to do this, but just make sure that what you're selecting is actually images of the original sculptures, because there are copies out there. There's stuff flying around eBay. You'll see postings for that. So make sure that underneath whatever you're looking at, whether it's a magazine article or if it's from Pinterest, which we'll look at what happens with that in a second, that you can actually find it. So for instance, like, let's say I'm interested in one of these guys and I like the heart-shaped one, and maybe that's the one I'm going to choose for this assignment. Maybe I go in, type that in, and do a search of that and see what comes up with this. And maybe I can find where this guy lives, where that sculpture actually is in the world. And it looks like it might be at the Tokyo National Museum. Oh, look, there's another interesting one that popped up. There's some more. That one, that one, that one. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. So this, oh, there's that one that I love too. That one's really cool and interesting. All right, so I can just select one of these, make sure and include this information. I can put a link in the Google slide as to where I can find this. So I'm just gonna copy this link and make sure I have that saved. Okay, and then I found my first object. You'll choose one of these. So then I'm going to move on to the next period. So I'm going to go back to that original list and say, well, let me just pick. Maybe you need to dig around in a couple of these periods, but I want to make a bit of a jump. So I'm actually going to make a jump to here. So I'm going to take this and I copy pasted it into here, and I did a similar thing where I just put it up in here. I put sculpture to make sure I got three-dimensional work, and then just started to see stuff that was popping up. It's like, oh, there's some pretty interesting stuff out there. So look at these guys. I mean, those are pretty cool. Actually, that's kind of typical. You see those kind of sculptures and statues, right? But those guys are pretty awesome. So let's say I find something that looks really cool. Look at this guy. But it's on Pinterest. So here's what you can try to do, because you need to find out, is this legit? Is it a copy? Can I trust what this person has put on Pinterest? Because, you don't know what people are posting. So I go to the link for Pinterest and I find this, and then I can copy paste that and go to where this thing is. Oh, okay. So this thing is in fact at a museum, and it's going to lead me straight to the object. So that's great, because I can find out some information about this object. What is the deal with this thing? It's quite interesting and bizarre. I fail to see how this is really an elephant. It looks like a dog. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's actually in Los Angeles. So that may be my second object if that's the one I decide to choose. Okay. So then I'm going to jump to contemporary. So then I'm just going to make a jump and I'm just going to type in contemporary Japanese sculpture. And there's modern, wood, ceramic, there's all sorts of traditional ceramic, Japanese, powerful contemporary art. So again, you're just going to do a very similar thing of, let me see what this is. This jumped out at me. I thought, wow, that looks really impressive and different. So silly pop-ups. So contemporary sculptures of Japanese artists. Here we go. So maybe this is somebody I want to highlight. I would want to share with the group and the class and say, hey, look, I found this online. I was blown away by it. It was really inspiring. Whatever it is that speaks to you about the artist you choose, and just share that with us and why. So hopefully this leads you in the right direction and gives you the information you need to kind of know what it is I'm looking for. And I'll have the examples, of course, in the Google Classroom along with these videos to help you with this process. And the next steps we'll look at in the coming days. All right.